This NFC West Predictions edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Colorado, Indiana, Michigan, New Jersey, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted parlays to in-game odds on every major sport, WynnBET has what you need to win. Sign up today to receive a $500 risk-free sports bet. Download the WynnBET app now or visit wynnbet.com and start winning today. We're also brought to you by PropSwap, America's #1 app to buy and sell sports bets. Use promo code SGP on your first deposit and receive up to $500 in bonus cash. That's PropSwap.com, promo code SGP. We're also brought to you by Pickswise. Pickswise is the #1 home of free sports betting picks. Visit Pickswise.com to make your next bet better. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com with promo code SGPN. Receive a free $25 entry to use in Best Ball Mania 2 for a chance to win $1 million. And of course, don't forget to download the SGPN app. SGPN is giving you a chance to win $100,000 NFL Week 1 exclusively on the SGPN app. Woo! Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking that money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer Dog?
Football. Yeah, 2-a-days, Sean. We're full force. 2-a-days.
Well,
Let's
actually
go.
3-a-days. We did a live NFL preseason week 2. We are now doing the NFC West, and we're going to be taping AFC North for a release date down the line. Joining us in studio, representing her 49ers in a George Kittle jersey, Katie Mox. What's happening, Katie?
Hi guys. Not too much, but yes, I did wear my Kittle jersey today. Because I can already feel the heat that you're bringing at me, and so I needed my Kittle energy on the best looking side of the table. Which I did.
Bringing that back.
It's going to be a lot of days like this, Sean. So get used to it.
I'm really holding down the less than good looking side of the table over here. I've come to a good place with George Kittle where I respect him as a football player. He's a good blocker. Yep. However, fantasy, I'm still out on George Kittle because of the touchdown.
The Eagles could have drafted Travis Kelce over Zach Ertz.
Yeah,
it's not just
Ryan.
George
There's an autograph football behind me of Zach Ertz scoring the game-winning touchdown in the 2017 Super Bowl. So you will not hear me say bad shit about Zach Ertz. Oh man, this is just such an awesome time of year. Everyone's getting jacked up for football. Everyone's coming back. Of course, download the SGPN app. We're going to try and give away $100,000 NFL Week 1 contest exclusively in the app. So make sure you get that ready to go. And of course,
I believe that someone will win.
It's pretty awesome. And you basically have to get all the games against the spread right, a couple totals thrown in there. However, if someone is going into Monday night undefeated, Ryan, that is going to be one hell of a sweat.
We might have to do a live sweat show with them, right?
Hopefully.
Wow.
And of course, we're brought to you by WynnBET, wynnbet.com. Head over there, download the WynnBET app. Hopefully you got in on our NFL preseason unders 14-3. You're welcome, America. Jersey, Indiana, Colorado, Michigan, all live. Tennessee and Virginia, they're live there too. What are you doing? What are you waiting for? Download the WynnBET app now. Get that $500 risk-free sports bet. Again, head over to wynnbet.com, wynnbet.com, and start winning today. All right, let's go. We got 4 teams here in the NFC West, as we do. It was interesting. Katie, of course, reached out. Hey, what are we looking for the outline for the episode? First off, puts you way ahead a lot of our normal guests who have no questions before.
I do what I can.
So kudos to you. And then I go, okay, here's what we're planning on doing. Hitting on win totals, walking through the schedule, throw out a prop bet. Also, here's some links to Football Outsiders and Warren Sharp. However, I've followed your Instagram stories. You're already grinding Football Outsiders and Warren Sharp. So it was redundant. You didn't even need that.
Yes, I am. And actually I was inspired by Ryan because I did see he was reading that on the plane to Ohio. So a big inspiration over here on, again, the right side of the table.
I brought that big ass book.
Brian, what? Yeah.
You know why? You know what was the tipping point? I'm like, dude, you're going to the Football Hall of Fame.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Lead a Hall of Fame life.
Might as well bring the Bible with you.
It is pretty funny. In the Hall of Fame, they try to inspire you. Hey, listen, you're not going to the Football Hall of Fame, but you can still lead a Hall of Fame life in their kind of like hype video theater. it was pretty funny. And just thinking of Ryan on the plane ride back with his giant book sitting next to strangers. Ryan, didn't one lady was asking you, "What are you doing?"
Wow, what? I think she actually said something along the lines of like, "You reading all those numbers?"
Yep.
And I said, consuming them. She looked confused. It was an awkward conversation. I mean, if you do bump into me in the wild, I am sometimes a strange individual. I'm sure I was like an hour and a half deep into reading like the third chapter on the NFC West. So I apologize for the awkward interaction. I'm sure she's not listening now. She's probably not part of the 2%ers, Sean.
No, she's not helping round our average up to 5%. Female listeners, Ryan, goal is one day 10%. We're gonna conquer the world. All right, let's get into it. Let's talk Arizona Cardinals. What are we looking at, Kramer?
All right, of course, the Cardinals 8-8 last year on the back of Kyler, the cheerleader Murray.
Yes,
they went over the win total of 7. This year it's 8.5. 100 on the over, -120 on the under, plus 650 to win the division, plus 2,500 to win the conference, 45-1 to win the Super Bowl. Them to make the playoffs is plus 150. Sean, miss is -200. They finished third in the division last year on a pretty neutral schedule. They have a pretty neutral schedule again this year. I mean, obviously we know about the additions, Watt, AJ Green, the who's of old guys.
Yeah.
Malcolm Butler, a guy we love to fade in DFS. The one we like is Rodney Hudson over from the Raiders. That could help the running game. And then for me, it's Patrick Peterson and Kenyon Drake. I think that might matter. I don't think they're going to miss Dan Arnold. And I think some folks are high on Rondell Moore. So Sean, with that,
where am I at?
I know you're a big Cliff Kitchens guy.
Yes, wow. I do, because I'd like to, very similar to Freddie Kitchens in a lot of ways.
Which, by the way, is offensive to me now because he's a part of
he's a part of Giants Nation over there. I think for me, the Cardinals, it's crazy they went 8-8 because they had it not been for that Hail Mary, they would have pushed their win total. So literally that catch swung their win total. For running quarterbacks like Kyler, I feel like we go through this same progression every time. They run a bunch, it helps them win a bunch of games. Then they get hurt. Then they say, you know what? I'm more than a running quarterback. I'm going to focus on being a drop back passer. But Kyler Murray clearly isn't. And his pre-injury and post-injury really was pretty different. 9 rushes per game. And then post-injury down to 6.1 rushes per game. He went from 7.6 yards per carry to 5.1 yards per carry. And that's really what kind of threw off their offense. His yards per attempt, 26 in the league, which yards per attempt usually is a pretty good metric for grading a quarterback, and that's pretty low.
John, you're gonna have to hit yourself with the nerd drop. This is the second time in 2 days we're talking football, and Sean has
come on, yards per attempt, right? This is not advanced.
I gotta pull some
metrics.
I gotta pull some clips from like 5 years ago when I'm using DVOA and you're just lambasting me.
No, really, where it crosses the line is Pythag win total. That I will not have on this show.
They underperformed last year. Their Pythag of 9.1.
They spent a lot of draft capital on linebackers over the couple of years. Again, Malcolm Butler they brought in, who I think is kind of cooked. And Chandler Jones, we didn't hit on him yet. He missed half the season, and Arizona was 4th in the league in sacks without him. So that was pretty impressive. I don't know. I think they're going to be average again. I don't see them outlier one way or the other. Katie, where are you at with the Cardinals?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that they're going to be average. I think they're a fun team to watch. I think they're probably the worst team in the division just because it's such a tough division. I think the Cardinals anywhere else could be like an 11-12 team. I don't see that for them. This season, obviously, they started out hot last year, and then the offense completely disintegrated right in front of us. Big year for both quarterback and coach. They have a lot to prove this year. Like you said, they added those offensive weapons. We've got AJ Green, Rondell Moore, who I think is actually going to fit pretty well.
Rondell Moore is pretty fun.
Yeah.
He's like a fun sleeper in fantasy.
I agree. And I think he fits well in Kingsbury's offense for sure. Obviously, their biggest weakness has been the O-line. But like you said, they added Rodney Hudson, who I think is going to be really helpful for them in the run game. But really where they get killed on is the penalties. They led the NFL last year in 131 total penalties. They were the number 1 in penalties for the offense, number 5 for defense.
Cliff Kitchens.
Yeah, exactly. And so I don't know that he's going to necessarily work that out, but they got to clean up their side of the street if they want to do well. I'm excited that they got JJ Watt. I do think he's a little bit washed up. I don't think we're going to be seeing the numbers we saw from him a couple years ago. I think their secondary is still questionable. So
they lost Patrick Peterson, but not that he was amazing because he's kind of hit the wall. And you're right, JJ Watt. It's always a red flag when they start off by saying great locker room guy. That means he's not adding anything on the field. If they're saying just the locker room and the penalties, that's a good point.
I would never say anything disparaging about JJ Watt, but it is like I think we are just penciling in some production that might have existed 5 years ago.
Yeah,
maybe more than 5 years ago. Back to the kitchen situation, or I guess I should say Cliff Kingsbury, just in case people aren't familiar with
why do we keep calling him Kitchens?
Our joke of comparing him to Freddie Kitchens.
Got it. Okay.
If you're new to the program,
he so just shout out to the Football Outsiders, who I guess now are run by someone called Edge Sports. Well, anyway, they have an Edge Sport game winning chance metric that essentially they use to measure coaches and decision making and things like that. Well, guess who had the worst decision in football last year? Well, it was Cliff Kitchens deciding to go for a field goal on 4th and 1.
Yep.
Down 3 to Miami with 1:58 to go. We remember this one, Sean, because it's a mind-bendingly stupid thing to do. You know who has the second worst decision last year? Cliff Kingsbury going for a field goal against New England. So this is a guy who he somehow has gotten swept up into the newfangled offensive genius model because he was quote friends or once sat next to Sean McVay or whatever it was. We love Mike Leach, right? But sometimes when you catch a branch that's a little far out on that tree, they aren't quite the innovator. He's not the innovator of the air raid offense. He was a dude that couldn't even win at the college level.
I still can't wrap my head around. He gets fired from college football and gets promoted to professional football. No other job works like that. It's insane. And really, to me, it comes down to if Kyler is a willing runner, which you read the news clippings and he says like, I don't want to run as much this year, but the team is good when he runs. And again, he's not a true drop back pocket passer. He's a shorter guy. And I just think if he's not going to use his legs, that really is going to limit their offense.
Secondary wave of attack on Cliff Kingsbury. You're an offensive guy. And yet last year you were kind of a little bit helped and carried to that 8-8 record by your defense. Finished 10th. Offense only 19th. Well, what happens when that defense regresses like defenses tend to do, especially ones that swing hard one way or the other? I worry about what this offense will become. Now, that's where we have to look at the offense, and everyone is screaming. Fantasy community mainly. Maybe I'm listening too hard to the same kind of echo chamber, but yes, they could be a good fantasy offense, but I don't know if this is going to be a good productive actual offense. Sean, do you remember that game when they played New England?
Yeah.
So through week 11, when they played New England, they led the league in total.
And New England was the perfect team where they go, you know what, we're not going to let you scramble. We're going to kind of load the box, play the edges there, not let you run around. And that's how you play whatever that mush rush is, where they're kind of rushing, but really it's just about keeping them in the pocket. And that really neutralized Murray.
So after that week 11 matchup, when at that point in time, they were leading the lead in offense and points per game, total offense and points per game. They had 0 positive DVOA games after that. 0.
No, it does seem like the book was out on them, and some of that is Cliff the Murray shoulder injury.
Unable to adjust. The yards per play decreased over 1.2 yards per play over that stretch. That's insane. So I think, and the funniest part about it, Sean, we joke about how this is a Madden offense. Literally, the book on how to stop it is play a couple linemen. You ever watch those Madden tournaments with the best guys in the world when they play like one down lineman and like 2 linebackers and then defensive backs all over the field?
Yeah,
that turned out to be how you stop it. Like you're saying, don't rush him at all.
Take down Kyler. Yeah,
and the fact that you can't figure that out, and then back to the penalties. Not just the fact that they were penalties, but false starts. Those aren't good. So only Wentz threw more adjusted interceptions.
Right here,
I went into this thinking I was going to be lukewarm on the Cardinals because I've been, on the best ball streets for a while now, Sean, you know that 24 hours straight.
Grinded.
But after doing this, last thing I wanted to throw out. Shockingly, even though Jason Garrett gets all sorts of shit for how many curls he runs and how much motion he doesn't use, Cliff Kingsbury least amount of motion and most curl routes run. So again, I went from lukewarm to completely out on this team. Like you said, they were a Hail Mary away from being 7-9 last year, and it kind of felt like they had a peak season. So
do you feel like this is Cliff Kitchen's last year in Arizona?
You want the hottest take?
The hottest.
Let's do it. What is it?
Well,
let me
focus in on the hot side of the table. Kyler Murray will be playing baseball in 2023.
That is a hot take, Ryan.
Is that good?
Yeah, that is great. We're gonna get that on social. All right, let's walk through the schedule. What do we got here?
All right, Arizona. Did we do too much time on the first team? We always do too much time on the first team.
We get excited,
and then we realize it. All right, kicking it off. Of course, doing quadrants plus the bonus game. Sean, you didn't remind him. 17 games this season. Arizona at Tennessee, Minnesota at home, at Jacksonville, at Rams, and then you got to start with 3 road games.
Oh God!
And we already, I mean, I don't want to say it too loudly because we're not doing the pick show for a couple of weeks, but I'm already down on Tennessee here at -2.5.
Yeah, why is that not 3? That's the only thing that's scary.
They could lose the Minnesota game. Minnesota probably going to be a good team on the turf this year. I'm going to say 1-3.
I don't know. Shit. I'll go 2-2. But 1-3 is definitely in the
I'm
mix.
at 2-2 as well.
Okay, you guys are being nice. Next 4, San Fran at home, at Cleveland, Houston at home, Green Bay at home on Thursday night football. Gosh,
man, this is
where
tough.
are the wins coming from?
Because you know Aaron Rodgers, that feels tough. I mean, even for a guy who's not super high on the Browns. Going at Cleveland, I think will be a tough matchup for this Cards team, and especially that O line against Cleveland's defensive line. Texans at home, you got to win that.
They get 1-3.
Yeah, 1-3. I think the Texans game might be a trap game.
Yeah,
a little bit. I think they might actually.
You're right,
because
they could be looking ahead to that Thursday night game against the Packers.
My Texans.
All right, I'll say 1-3 because 3 and 5 sounds about right.
We're all on 1-3. I love this. All right, next 4. At San Francisco, Jesus, Carolina at home, at Seattle, bye week, at Chicago. For fuck's sake, I'll be nice. Could they win? I mean, Chicago is going to be a dumpster fire. We can all agree there. Yeah, I'll be generous here and say 2-2. I'm
2-2 as well.
Yeah, I guess 2-2, but man. You could make a pretty easy case they could lose. They could go. Sean, I'm going to go 1-3.
I feel like Sean, you're being optimistic, and somehow we're at the same record. All right, final 4.
What do I have Matt right now, Ryan? Not that
I don't want to. No, we're not.
Not that I'm going to adjust my math to make it fit my narrative.
You have 4 wins. Rams at home on Monday Night Football, at Detroit, Indy on Christmas at home, at Dallas. Jesus.
See, I think they could get frisky here late. I'll go 3-1. Katie, what do you think?
I have them 1-3.
Ooh, wow. I'm gonna go 2-2. I think I'll go 2-2 here, and then the bonus final game is Seattle at home. Man, Seattle.
They can win that game.
Seattle always plays this one weird, but I'm not. I think this is going to be a bad season, so they lose the game. I'm saying they lose the bonus game.
Well, because they could fall apart in the end.
Yeah.
Oh, they're at Seattle. No way they win.
No, it's Seattle at home. Seattle at home.
I think they could win at home, but you're right. They fall apart in the end of the season.
All right. Are you giving them an L?
I'll give them a win. You know what? Yeah, I'll stay with the win.
All right. Final answer: loss.
Yeah.
Let's do it. All right. So I had them go, Sean, 6-11.
Okay.
Sean, you had 7-8.
8-9.
Wow. Yeah. 8-9.
Okay. And I felt like I was
trying to fill a
generous.
narrative. That was bullshit there. I shouldn't have told you where you were standing.
I did some quick math.
And Katie also at 6-11 with me, which looking at the numbers, suggest to me, Sean, felt like you were being real kind.
Yeah,
I feel like it was best case scenario.
4 wins in the last 5 weeks, still couldn't get him over.
I will say, last season they were favored at 9, and they lost 5 games as favorites last season. So
and that's the other side
interesting
of
betting
bad
team.
coaching. Bad coaches lose when they're favorites.
All right, so we're all on the under here. What about any sort of futures play here? Not to make the playoffs. I'm guessing
I like
at -200. That's not crazy.
if I like them to go 6-11 minus it. They're missing the playoffs more than 2/3 of the time.
Yeah,
which means I like the price at -200. There's value there. I'm certainly not looking to bet them to win the division or do anything silly like that. I can give you a prop because.
Yeah, what do you got prop wise?
Well, let's go back to JJ Watt, a guy who hasn't really done it in a while. He's only gone over his sack total of 8.5 sacks once in the past 5 years.
Wait, his sack total is 8.5?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking insane. He's barely going to see the field.
One season in the last 5 did he get over that sack total?
Yeah, lock that up.
Is he going to play 16 games? No. The chances of him going.
Is he going to play 17? No. Is he going to play 15? No. I love that. What do you got for a prop, Katie?
So I was looking at those special props that we did the last
Yeah,
time
those
I
are
was
nice.
on. And even though we're kind of down on the Cardinals a little bit, I do like Kyler Murray over 4,999.5 regular season combined passing and rushing yards. That's
Ooh.
at +200. He was close last year, even though, he started out great, got a shoulder injury, but he was at 4,790 last season, 819 rushing, 3,971 passing. So yeah, I think this is feasible that he could get 5,000 combined. So I like that one +200.
Yeah, no.
What was the number
plus
again?
odds?
4,999.5 regular season combined passing.
I
and
like
rushing.
how they put it that it's like the pricing a car. Or
Yes,
something.
exactly.
Oh, it's not 5,000. He can get over 5,000
Yeah.
combined. Yeah, and if you throw in the rushing yards, even if he rushes a little less, it is easy to rack it up. Especially, that's the thing with passing yards. You don't have to be good to get a shit ton of passing yards.
And he's got weapons.
No, yeah, and I could see them getting a bunch of yards after the catch. It just seems like they're going to lose some close games. Their defense not quite as good, coaching not good. So it seems
I think they're going to lose games closely, though. I think they're going to be.
No,
in
I
contention.
don't think they're going to get blown out. And honestly, looking at that schedule, there could be value on them taking them as a dog towards the end of the season. I think just the way the schedule breaks. For my prop, Ryan, I'm going to parlay these 2 player props.
Wow.
Chase Edmonds under 650.5 rushing yards and James Conner over 595.5. They
Feels correlated.
They brought in James Conner for a reason. I think Chase Edmonds, he's 5'9". He's just not a guy who's going to get a shit ton of carries, even if they want to run the ball a bunch. Man, I just don't see how he's going to get over that. He didn't have that last year. I get he's supposed to have a bigger workload, but they brought in James Conner. James Conner had like 700 something last year, and that was with he missed some games. That Pittsburgh offensive line was dog shit. I think he's going to be in a good spot. So
I didn't know he was 5'9".
yeah,
Little
Chase
guy.
Edmonds,
Little guy.
tiny man.
Jersey legend. Watch your mouth, Sean.
All right, we're gonna talk about prop swap. That's right. Prop swap, where America goes to buy and sell sports bets. That's right. Awesome part about prop swap is you can win bets or win money without your bet winning. It's pretty easy. Last year, got about $100 on the Bills to win the championship at 35-1. When they got to the AFC championship, he sold it, got $900. They ended up losing the game, so he made money off a losing ticket. Think how many losing tickets you have. And there's some times where the value has skyrocketed. You gotta unload, and that's why they recommend going for 2. When you place your futures bets, buy 2 tickets so that you can sell one when it increases in value, and then keep one so you can still have that sweet sweat. Get started today. Head over to PropSwap.com or download the PropSwap app. PropSwap, it's where America goes to buy and sell sports bets. PropSwap, ton of fun. We got to load up on some futures, Ryan, when we're out in Vegas week 1.
You know who doesn't go for 2? Cliff Kitchens.
Yeah, no,
he
Does
doesn't
not.
go
it's
for
so.
2.
I
Does
mean,
not.
the advanced metric stuff I feel like is pretty simple. It's
not
stuff.
advanced anymore.
Just when you're watching, you go, no, don't punt. Really, it just comes down to when the other team does it, you go, thank God they punted. Thank God they went for a field goal there.
All right, Sean.
Let's go.
Next up, the Los Angeles Rams. 10-6 last year, Sean. They went over their win total of 9, and of course, they slayed the mighty Russell Wilson in the playoffs. Jared Goff, never forget, road win in the playoffs. Lost to the Packers the next round, though. This year, the win total's at 10. Or I'm sorry, the win total is at 10.5, plus 120 on the over, minus 140 on the under. plus 190 to win the division, 650 to win the conference, Super Bowl at 14-1, miss the playoffs plus 160, make the playoffs minus 200. Sean, oh, some key additions. My guy, Matty Stafford.
You're all in on Stafford.
I mean, ever since he retaliated to Aaron Rodgers not being able to chug a beer by chugging a beer himself.
That was cool.
That's the kind of thing we like here on this program.
Yes. Kind of thing that George Kittle would do.
That's what I'm talking about.
Again, I want to hang out with George Kittle.
Deshaun Jackson.
Just not if we're hanging out on my fantasy team.
Deshaun Jackson and mini Deshaun Jackson, Tutu Atwell come in to help stretch the offense, something they couldn't do last year with Jared Goff. And
what
I guess
could go wrong?
You know, when I see key departures led by Jared Goff, my first question is that really a key departure? By all accounts, Sean McVay is like a pig in shit that he no longer has to roll the training wheels out there.
He is very excited.
One thing to note on the schedule this year, according to the outsiders, it's the 6th toughest schedule. So that's going to be something they got to overcome. Also have to overcome the loss of their defensive coordinator, who's now leading up the Chargers. Which, by the way, we haven't talked enough about how that Cush that he got promoted in his city. Like, don't have to move. Didn't have to downgrade from the Los Angeles living experience. I mean, anyway, so Sean, as I throw it over to you now that Matthew Stafford is here, a guy I'm high on, are the Rams now the team to beat?
The answer is no, Ryan. Not in the NFC West. Your buddy.
I was thinking someone else was going to come this way. I was preparing myself.
I mean, again, I'll give you another hint. It's not the 49ers either. It's definitely.
By the way, it is.
It's definitely not the Rams. One, they still have that giant Dick logo, much to Eric Dickerson's dismay. Ironically, Eric Dickerson is the one who pointed out the Dick logo. They haven't done anything about that. Matt Stafford, Ryan, gut handicapper, simple handicapping. You don't want advanced metrics. How about a simple metric? Matt Stafford as a starter, 74, 90 and 1. Oh, I know he was on the Lions. The Lions always suck. Winners find a way to win at the quarterback position. It's just that simple. But again, this to me is a very personal battle because I'm dealing with a guy who's been out on Jared Goff and says he sucks for a very long time. To the point that I created Jared Goff Sucks Island because it was just me who saw that this guy sucked. And then versus Sean McVay and Matt Stafford are kind of overrated and they get a little too much hype. So I'm going back and forth here. This is a great nugget about how bad Goff was last year. 55% of Goff's yards came from yards after catch and only 45% came from actually throwing the ball in the air. To put that in perspective, it's 40th in the league in quarterbacks. There's 32 teams. How do you, I mean, I get it. Some quarterbacks played, some teams have multiple quarterbacks, but when you're below 32,
it's impressive.
It's insane.
It's impressive.
Digging deep though, the defense really played out of their minds because you look at the numbers, you're like, Goff sucks. Their offense wasn't as good. How did they still win a decent amount of games and including a playoff game? Defense played out of their mind.
Yep.
They held teams to 6.7 points per game in the second half. They also had 4 defensive touchdowns. That kind of stuff is hard to bring back. I know you have Aaron Donald. I know you have Jalen Ramsey. I think losing the defensive coordinator is going to be huge. Mm-hmm. When they brought in Brandon Staley, they went from 17th in defense to 1st. So losing him is going to be a big deal.
And let's pause on that for a second because we're going to keep talking about Brandon Staley for a second. Vic Fangio disciple again, one player removed from the tree or one branch removed from the tree. I'm going to blow you a question for both of you.
Yes.
How many seasons has Raheem Morris, the current defensive coordinator, been a defensive coordinator in the past?
Well, Ryan, you already gave me this trivia question in the office earlier, so I'll let Katie answer.
I have no idea.
What was it? 1 year?
1 year.
He was the defensive coordinator at Kansas State in 2006. It was hard to find any advanced data, but that was good for. He was good for 66 out of 119 FBS programs, points per game. That's not great. Then he was the defensive coordinator 2020 Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
Where he led the 14th ranked defense. Ooh, scary. I'm with you all the way on the fact that the defense could regress.
A little bit.
And it was weird. Their team, you think Sean McVay, all these weapons, high powered offense, but really the way they won games down the stretch, the way they got to be a playoff team and win a playoff game was They were carried by their defense and Cam Akers pounding the rock.
Right.
Now I know they're high on Henderson, but Cam Akers was really kind of carrying this offense.
Yeah.
And he was really plugging. It seems like you're on the same page of shorting this Rams team. What are your thoughts, Katie?
I am. Well, not as short as the Cardinals, of course. They're the shortest stick in this bunch. But I will say, obviously, we're all Angelinos. We live in LA, but we are not from here. No one is more, finicky than LA fans, LA sports fans. And just the hype right now on the Rams. It's like if you go on Rams Twitter, it's like nobody overblows what's going to happen this year more than them. And I just think that it's not all about the quarterback. I'm excited for Stafford to be here for sure, but I don't think that the Rams have a complete team like my 49ers do. So I will say, obviously, it's kind of a put up and shut up time for the Rams, certainly on the offense. They were the most efficient on the ground last year. Their passing attack took some steps back. Obviously, Stafford is going to help out with that. He's got plenty of weapons for him to do well. Like you guys said, they lost their defensive coordinator, also lost Johnson and Hill. That's going to hurt continuity, and also just overall talent on the back end for their defense. I think their defense is still going to help them win games. I think their rushing game is still good, but like you said, without Akers, that's a huge loss for them. So I still have them having a decent season, but I'm not buying into the, I think Stafford is the Messiah of Los Angeles.
Yeah, I think their floor could actually be a little sneaky, but I just don't see them getting to that ceiling. I don't see them in the Super Bowl mix or contender mix. Right?
You guys are underselling the Stafford swag effect.
I think they'll win home games. I think they'll have a hard time on the road with that.
That's probably a good point. I mean, Stafford's a guy who's used to playing in a dome.
Yeah.
What did we say when Akers got hurt, Sean, for the fantasy perspective? Well, we love the offense more. Well, why did we love the offense more? Well, they're probably gonna look to stretch the ball out because they're not gonna be a power running team.
I like it for Higbee and some of the PPR stuff.
But also because their defense, I think not being able to run the ball could potentially hurt this defense. They're very fragile, Sean. Hyper fragile.
Are they?
I think they're very top loaded, and I think an injury, like we talk about it, but I mean, Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey allow you to do a lot of stuff, right? A lot has been made about Jalen Ramsey was taking away half a field, and then Aaron Donald just is a dominant force up front. Assuming Aaron Donald plays the whole season, and even Jalen Ramsey, I think they have enough kind of shallow positions around them that it's not going to take much for something to shake the foundation here, and then sprinkle in the fact that Raheem Morris has, again, it blew my mind that he had not been a coordinator more than this. He's been a head coach.
I didn't know that. Yeah,
more times in the NFL, more years in the NFL than he has coordinator. And so I think that is going to matter a little bit. He's in a very difficult division in terms of scheming up.
Yeah.
And I think the last thing I'll say is that Staley clearly was good at adjusting in the game, right? Like when you're playing a scheme that is essentially relying on two guys to dominate, you must be adjusting in game because you can't just roll that out. And so I expect defense generally regresses, right?
Wow.
Generally swings around. And so we had an elite unit last year. That unit comes back to earth. They become a middling unit. Now the offense, you're going to say, well, clear upgrade, Jared Goff to Stafford. But
yes.
So the rush offense, which was fourth in DVOA, dips a little bit. The pass offense comes up from 16 or wherever they are. They're still just barely a top 10 offense, but they slide back a couple wins. And so, and last thing I'll say, Sean, I mean, you're not really standing on it anymore because Doug Peterson's been fired, but Sean McVay is still a flawed coach.
I agree.
And I'll say this, as a coach myself, and most coaches are flawed.
Coach Kramer.
I would have never greenlit them showing me show off a dog trick I've taught my dog that was as stupid as the one that he showed on Hard Knocks.
Trick.
It wasn't a trick at all. I thought the dog was going to dunk. That really pissed me off. I think that swayed me to the side of not liking Sean McVay. Should we go through the schedule?
Yes. One last quick nugget.
Yes.
When they were on Hard Knocks or like early on with the Rams, what was the big thing? It's like, oh, Sean McVay, he doesn't even watch the defense. He's looking at his tablet. He's all offense. And they just let Wade Phillips do whatever he wanted to do. And Wade Phillips did a pretty good job with the defense.
Yep.
Kind of lost his edge there the last year. They bring in Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley got, again, like I said, 17th to 1st in defense. So now you lose Staley, and now you're letting Raheem Morris steer the defensive ship. I think some shit's gonna happen on their defense. it's just not going to be as dominant. So I'm with you.
We'd love to hear it.
Let's go. What are we looking at, Kramer? Walk through the schedule.
Chicago at home on Sunday night football at Indy, Tampa Bay at home, Arizona at home. I mean, you circle that Tampa game. That's going to be a fun one.
Oh, yeah.
3 home games.
3 home games to start. I do think they definitely win the first one. I'd be surprised if they didn't go 2-2 here. I'll say they go 2-2 here.
I have them 3-1.
3-1.
I think they only lose to the Bucs. I mean, I guess it depends on Carson Wentz if he's playing or not by week 2.
Well,
I mean, they say he's going to be week 1.
Hopefully he plays and sucks.
Yeah, I have him 3-1. I have him only losing to the Bucs.
Sean?
Oh man, it's tough because the Bears opening night, maybe they fall.
You're probably right. They probably lose one of Indy or Tampa. So I'll also.
Well, no, Tampa's at home.
That's what I'm saying. At Indy or Tampa. I'll also go 3-1. You swayed me, Katie.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go 2-2. I think the defense lets them down.
Sean really hates Sean McVay too.
Well, and he's
more
not,
than George Kittle, or
yes,
George Kittle fantasy. I've come around to George Kittle, the human being.
Okay,
I've forgiven him for winning the All Pro over Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz did set the.
I will constantly poke you with this, though. Just so you know.
Please do. Please do.
This is what our show's built on.
At Seattle on Thursday night football.
Ooh, that's
short
a
week
good
there.
game.
Coming off the Arizona at Giants, Detroit at
That's
home.
a win.
At Houston. Oof.
This is where I got him going 3-1.
Yeah, me too. They're only losing in Seattle.
Even that the Rams kind of play them sneaky. So I think between at Giants, they're dog shit. Rams, Lions at home. At
Sean's
Texans.
just mean. He doesn't. It's not even clever. I'm gonna say they go 2-2 here.
Katie, where are you at?
I'm 3-1. I think they're gonna. I think it's just so hard to win in Seattle. And I do think that this division kind of splits the games a lot. So I see them losing there.
Yeah, no, NFC West.
What other game do you see them winning? Or losing? Sorry, losing.
Houston.
Oh,
Ryan has a comically high.
Hanging out with bloody
Houston's going to be a sleepy.
mitts.
Houston's going to be a sleepy spot for a lot of these teams.
I mean, they're not even? We don't even know if Deshaun is.
You know what it is? I'll say it's more that I think they probably go. I'm giving them a half win in the first 4 and the second 4. So now it brings me to the number I want to be at anyway. Sean with his narratives, just trying to be like Sean. Tennessee at home on a Sunday night football. Then we have at San Francisco.
Tough spot.
On Monday night, of course, Kyle Shanahan owns McVay's ass.
100%. I love it.
Going to the bye week and then coming out at Green Bay and then Jacksonville at home. 2-2, I'll say. I think they lose the road games, win the home games 2-2.
2-2.
I have them winning the Titans, losing the Niners, losing the 2-2.
Nice. And coming down the stretch, Sean. I love having paper in my hand. It means it's football season. At Arizona on Monday Night Football, Seattle at home, at Minnesota, at Baltimore. Whew. I think they'll be lucky to go 1-3 here.
Yeah, this is a brutal schedule.
It gets hard too. So like it could fall. They need to bank wins early or they're going to be in trouble.
Man, can I have them going 2-2?
No, I mean you could.
Yeah, I mean at Ravens non-conference road game on the other side of the country. Oh man, I'm gonna go 1-3.
I'm going 1-3 as well.
All right, I love it. Lots of I mean the Los Angeles fans will surely come out and
the people that have been fans for 1 year, the ones that just bought a Stafford jersey.
Rams are fine to shit on because they will not go after you in your mentions. There's some fan bases that will definitely get chippy.
Although we did see what happened at the preseason game.
You're right.
Two Rams fans.
They take down each other.
Yeah,
that was pretty
couple bad apples. Bonus game is home against the Niners. Again, I don't think McVay has a good track record against Shanahan.
Yeah, I think they win this one. I think they split.
I actually think they split too. I think the Rams win this one because I do think we split, and I do think that the Rams are going to be tough to beat at home.
I'll go with you guys.
Kramer, tell me I hit 9 and 8.
Sean, you let's see, 5, 8, 9, and 8.
Nice.
I don't like what you're doing. You're too coordinated here. Katie has them going 10 and 7.
See, 10 wins feels like the ceiling.
Yeah, the ceiling is the floor with this Rams. I have them going 9 and 8 also. Yeah, I think that. I mean, I still think they're going to have a better fantasy offense this year. I just don't think the defense is going to be quite as elite.
Yeah, it's interesting, and you're seeing you have to pay for it to go under. Under is minus 140.
Right.
Over is plus 120 at 10.5.
Where's the path to 11?
Yeah, I know. 11 is tough. That seems like a best case scenario. Another deep nugget. If you take out the Patriots, double digit win totals have only hit at 45.6%. So in general,
Wow.
well, I mean, in general, and maybe this will change a little bit. Obviously, as you add that 17th game, getting to 10 wins won't be as crazy or as hard, but going over 10.5 is pretty tough.
Did we hit on the potential offensive line regression?
No, and they could definitely have some issues.
They had 6 guys play all but 4 snaps last year.
Wow.
And their left tackle's 40.
Yeah, I was looking at.
Yeah,
I was looking at.
So I think it's hard to. It seems like there's more versions of this team where something goes wrong and they dip much lower than their total. Than like how many versions of the season? How many percentage points of the simulation do they win 13 or 12? Not many, right?
Yeah, if I was going to give them like a 3-win area, it would be 11 wins, 10 wins, 9 wins, and then maybe even 8 wins is probably in the mix there. So you have 8, 9, and 10, and you're all still in the under. I don't think there's any value on no to make the playoffs at plus 160 because I think 9 and 8
make the playoffs.
9 and 8 they could probably still get in with that 7 team. Even Katie, who has them 10 and 7, I think that gets you in.
Yeah,
I think you're better off just laying a little bit of the juice and taking the under on the win total. Prop bet. I'll kick off the prop bet.
Yes.
I'm gonna go Matt Stafford under 28.5 passing touchdowns.
Ooh.
It sounds crazy, like, oh man, they're the Rams. They throw the ball. They have great receivers.
You should rewind and just listen to what I said.
No, quietly, the Rams don't rack up a ton of passing touchdowns, and granted, some of that is Jared Goff, but some of it is they just like pounding the rock when they get in the red zone. They're not a team like
used to with Cam Akers.
Well, no, and maybe that does get them to throw the ball more, and Stafford does like the tight end, so maybe that's something that shifts. But again, Stafford's only gone over that once in his last 5 years, and Goff only went over that once in his 5 years. Now, again, Goff is noticeably shittier than Stafford, but still, I think they're going to run the ball more than you think in that red zone. So I think that kind of chips away at the passing touchdowns. It's not like the Packers or even the Bucks who threw a bunch of inside the 5. I just don't think they do that. So I like that. And the Stafford overrated angle mixed with them running in the red zone. Katie, prop bet for the Rams?
I'm slightly second guessing this, not really after our talk on the defense and what's going on there, but still I think the most reliable thing on that team is Aaron Donald. So I have him over 12.5 sacks. That's at minus 110. Obviously he's one of the most powerful defensemen in the league on the linemen. He's at double-digit sack totals, I think 2 or all but 2 of his last 7 years, which is great. He had 13.5 last season. 2018 had 20.5. I know there's probably going to be a little bit of regression, but I mean, he's a beast.
He looked great against the Cowboys offensive line for what it's worth. And I've been told that's one of the best offensive lines in the league.
By who?
Yeah.
Well,
by Cowboys fans.
Fantasy Twitter and Cowboys fans.
Got it.
I actually think based on what I think this team looks like this year, he'll have more pass rushing opportunities because they may be in some more shootouts, and so that actually helps and Aaron Donald's a guy that you bet on getting to the quarterback. You
100%.
just gotta hope he gets there and gets the sack because
I mean,
that's the randomness of the sack
last
prop.
3 seasons, 13.5, 12.5, 20.5.
He's pretty consistently
20.5 is wild.
He's one of those guys too, where I don't mind rooting for him, even though he's not on my team. It's just fun to see guys throw other men around like rag dolls.
He doesn't look large too. I think that's what the novelty of Aaron Donald is. He's not this like. I remember watching Ndamukong Suh in college, and he was just this massive dude, also very strong, and just could move 2 men at the same time. Aaron Donald was a smaller guy, and he's unblockable. He's still unblockable. It's unbelievable.
I love how much he wants it too. He wants to get them.
Yeah, he's fun. He's probably my favorite.
We saw him get in a fight in the Cowboys joint practice.
That was great in Hard Knocks. Kramer, what do you at? Prop bet.
Well, I think the defense steps back. I think the offense has the ability to go more vertical down the field. So I am actually going to take a rare over. Robert Woods to go over 995.5 yards. He went under last year for the first time since 2017 with 90 catches. Now you would say, how does he possibly go under with 90 catches? Yards per target dropped to 7.3 thanks to Jared fucking Goff. And from 8.2 the previous year when he did get over, his career average 7.9. So if he just regresses back to his career average, he gets over this total. If assuming he gets the same amount of targets, I actually think there will be more passes this year because of what we talked about, and I think those average depth of target for someone like Robert Woods is going to be increased because Stafford willing to throw the ball down the field. I think this is stealing right here. I think this is an absolute stealing candy from a baby situation.
No, and yeah, that makes sense for fantasy. And Higbee, I think, is the other guy that's really going to benefit.
Yeah.
All right.
Before, and we're gonna save the Katie's 49ers for last. Before we get to that, PicksWise. They are the #1 home of free sports betting picks, props, and parlays, helmed by a team of trend watching, data devouring sports fanatics, giving you the who, how, and why behind every prediction. Again, you're a DJ and you love gambling, you love betting on everything, and they got you covered every game, every day, every sport, all for free. And myself, I'm always looking for more gambling content, free picks. All you got to do, go to PicksWise.com to make your next bet better. PicksWise backs responsible gambling. If you or someone you know wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Kramer, I want help with some winners. Let's go.
I like how
Seahawks.
I see what you did there, Sean. Well, Sean, last year, of course, once again, they gave away money. 9.5 was the win total. They went 12.
Every goddamn year, Russell Wilson goes over.
Yep.
He's just a lock. Of course, complete disappointment when they lost to the Rams.
Oh God.
In the first round of the playoffs.
To the
Jared
backup
Goff.
Wait, who was that tiny Wolford, right?
Yes.
The Wolf
Wolford.
of Walford.
Oh man, that was such a funny run.
Tongue twister.
They're like, this guy's so tiny, he's like Rudy, and then 6 minutes into the game, he's being carted off in an ambulance. Jared Goff comes in.
Broken thumb.
2020 was a hell of a year.
Yeah, Jared Goff with the ultimate tough guy performance.
Again,
Shocking.
The story no one's talking about. Jared Goff went on the road and won a road playoff game with the broken thumb coming off the bench. Again, it hurt the value of Jared Goff's Sucks Island, but now that he's in Detroit, the price skyrocketing once again.
I will say no fans though. I think it would have been different in Seattle.
And that's a perfect point here because Seattle is definitely a place. If you've ever seen a game there, it's a fun place to see a game. But as we talk about fans coming back, there's someone that the home crowd makes a difference.
Yeah.
Arizona, Los Angeles, not much, but Seattle definitely, and maybe even Niners, a small bump there, but definitely the Seahawks. That gets loud.
Yep.
It seems like they've made an investment in their offensive line, at least a little bit. Russ was a little upset in the offseason. We probably didn't give him enough shit because we like him so much on him kind of acting like a little baby as the league turns. I think they brought in an offensive mind that is, we think, going to let Russ cook at a faster pace.
Yep.
We love the Russ Wilson, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf stacks in fantasy. They do have a middling schedule, so like that doesn't seem to get in their way. It's just really going to come down to like, is Pete Carroll really going to let this team evolve, and is the defense going to hold up, Sean?
Well, I'll let Katie kick things off here first on the Seahawks because I'm gonna go hard in buying into Russ and the Seahawks, but maybe she's not quite as high. I want to get
no, I am. I'm a Russell Wilson girl, primetime Russell Wilson. I do, and he's just such a likable guy. Obviously, the Seahawks have been our biggest competition for as long as I can remember, and they're always going to be at the top of the NFC. And I do think that they are the Niners' biggest competition this year again, even more so than the Rams are. Obviously, they started out great last season, perfect 5-0, averaging about 33.8 points per game. After their bye week, they pretty much just fell apart. And, obviously a lot of problems with the offensive coordinator. They were just too conventional, too run heavy. People had them figured out. Russ was well on his way to get MVP. He wasn't happy about it. Like you said, they've made some adjustments there. They have a new offensive coordinator. I think that's going to breathe some life into it. I'll get into it later, but I actually like his odds for MVP. But I do think,
please.
Yeah, I do think that if they stay healthy, that they're still going to be a contender. They're going to be in the playoff picture. Obviously, their talent is skewed more towards the offense. We know that, but they have kind of done some work on the defense too. And when you have Russell Wilson, I mean, you pretty much have an opportunity to win every single game. So I think they're going to be strong this year. I do.
And they just backed the truck up for Jamal Adams.
That's kind of an interesting thing. They gave up a lot to get him in the trade. And I guess it's one of those things when you give up that much draft capital, you just have to pay the guy because you already gave up so much. You can't lose him. Jamal Adams missed 4 games, still had a career high in sacks.
Crazy
at 9.5. Again, Russell Wilson is just a goddamn winner.
Yep.
98, 45 and 1 as a starter. Only one 9-win season in his entire career. They're kind of interesting too. Turnover margin +4, which was actually their lowest turnover margin in the last 4 years. Like normally it regresses, but the Seahawks have been consistently a very positive turnover margin. I think it actually goes up because they're pretty good about playing for turnovers. Offensive line, according to Establish the Run, ranked 22nd, which is kind of a red flag, but they're actually pretty good at run blocking. And Russell Wilson can kind of figure it out on his own. I mean, the guy just doesn't take a bunch of sacks. They did lose Shaq Griffin, which will certainly hurt. But again, Shane Waldron, I think it's going to be a lot of quick passing stuff, efficient. He's coming over from the Rams. I think that style is going to benefit Seattle. So 7.5 yards attempt, 40 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Again, he started super hot. They cooled off, but secretly while the offense cooled off, the defense started playing a lot better. So
They did.
I think if they can carry some of that momentum with the defense, reset. I mean, DK Metcalf is a dog. Tyler Lockett, dog. You know, like Chris Carson, dog. Well, maybe not Chris Carson, but they got some dogs. And
DK Metcalf was asked, at what point in your football career did you decide no one can guard you? His answer: when my mom had me. I mean,
see, I love that.
That's a legendary answer.
That's as a receiver, we want that. There's that fine line between trying too hard or whatever, but the cocky receiver that really nails it.
Yep.
And
well,
DK Metcalf has that.
He actually walks the walk though too.
Yeah.
Sean is. I mean, if there's. It used to be Carson Wentz, but if there's an athlete not on the Eagles that he's going to get a fat head and request a midriff selection, please, it's DK Metcalf.
The guy's a fucking beast. And I mean, normally I would hate a guy like that because the Eagles could have drafted him, should have drafted him. I mean,
how's our Sega Whiteside?
Sega Whiteside. That like they're talking about. Oh, he's doing well in special teams. He may make the team as a gunner. Meanwhile, you got DK Metcalf, you know, one of the best receivers in the league, and just looks the part as well. So I don't know. Normally I would hate on a guy like that, but he's tough to hate on. The guy's a fucking beast.
Yes.
All right, Kramer, let's talk Seahawks.
Last thing I'll add, because this was another fun nugget that I dug up. The last time they made it past the divisional round in the postseason, Sean, give me the year.
2018,
2014.
Really?
Wow.
It right.
Because it feels like they're always kind of in the mix.
Yeah.
And we touched on it with the Raiders loss, but Gabe Jackson, I think that's going to matter a lot. All right. And of course, Russ is going to cook at a fast pace. Love that shit in fantasy. Seattle at Indy, Tennessee at Minnesota, at San Francisco. My note here is, wow, holy shit. 4 of 6 on road to start. Wait to play futures. So with that start at Indy, Tennessee, at Minnesota, at San Francisco, they never start fast.
No, they started fast last year.
I know.
They did 5-0.
I don't trust that they're going to start fast with this one.
It is a new system.
The Indy spot is worrisome because they do have a defense. Carson Wentz is going to play.
Oh, right? He's going to play, and he's going to play on his bum ass foot. Yeah, I think he is. He knows the narrative that he sucks and that.
He's antsy. I read he's antsy. He wants to play.
The motions you're doing, that's Carson Wentz. Like, put me in the game, coach. He is going to fight to play. Frank Reich is his boy.
2-2.
They're going to play 3-1. And I might
2-2 for me.
I think they could even start hotter than that. Look out.
I think they lose to the Colts. I do.
What?
I have them losing to the Colts and of course the Niners.
I do not have them losing to the Colts. I'm all over that spot.
I think they beat the Niners. All right. Rams at home, Thursday Night Football. See, this is where it gets interesting because again, they just so many road games to start the year. Rams Thursday Night Football following following the San Francisco game, then back on the road at Pittsburgh Sunday night, then New Orleans on Monday Night Football at home, and then Jacksonville. So 3 home games in this stretch, but going at Minnesota, at Niners, Rams at home, at Pittsburgh is a brutal stretch. That Rams game is going to be extra tough. I do think I do think they get a little revenge here.
I think they go 4-0 in this stretch.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's tough to win in Seattle. I think that they're going to lose against the Rams at home, but I think they'll get the best of them in that.
And you
revenge
think they
game.
beat Pittsburgh on the road?
Yeah.
Onions. I go 3-1.
Ryan and I both reacting with the duel. Ooh.
Well, I respect.
It feels like a soundtrack.
I respect a 4-0 because you're, again, back to the brick by brick, the 2% crowd can go. It's easy to say 2-2 each 4.
I think that Seattle defense can get to.
I love
Big
it.
You got to throw a couple 4-0s.
What do you got?
By the way, I got a lot coming for you on the Niners.
What do you got? What do you?
Katie sent me a photo of her notes.
I'm warming you up for the 4-0.
4-0. I don't see a lot of losses on this schedule.
I came up with a few.
Schedule.
I came up with a few.
All right,
I'm going to go 3-1.
3-1. All right, I'm 3-1 as well. Next 4, we have at Rams. Wow, they really? Am I reading this right? I'm sorry. Shouldn't fold this sheet in half. All right.
No.
They have a
bye
bye
week at Green Bay, Arizona at home, at Washington on Monday Night Football, San Francisco at home in lots of primetime games here. We're going to be watching lots of Seattle on Sunday Night Football against the Niners. I think they probably, at this point in the season, they could have Trey Lance in, and who knows?
They're not having Trey Lance.
Who knows what's going on at that point?
Relax.
How dare you besmirch Jimmy G, Ryan?
I will say got to give them the home games. I think the crowd's going to matter.
Yep.
Can they sneak one of these? I think they lose both the road games, 2-2.
2-2.
2-2.
Wow. We all, I don't know. The Redskins could, the football team could be bad. I think we all need to start coming to grips with that. Last quadrant at Houston, at Rams, Chicago, Detroit. Ooh, schedule is easy there.
Let's go.
Wow.
Russ.
This is the time he starts to cook. I'll go.
Heats up for the holiday season.
I'm going. Let's see. I'll go 3-1.
Gonna be hawking that.
I'll do 3-1.
The concussion water as a stocking stuffer.
Yeah, the concussion water. We don't give him enough shit for that.
That was a interesting turn for Russell Wilson.
And then at Arizona, I think I had Seattle winning this. Sean, you have to have Seattle losing this game.
No, I'm gonna say win.
Okay, you're gonna have both teams winning this game somehow.
It's a rare double win.
I have a loss for them.
You had the loss on the other side, so we're good.
All right, fine. Grade it. Whatever I said.
No,
actually graded a win. Seattle wins that game. I was incorrect.
I have them going. Sean, drum roll, please. You'll be shocked. Over 11-6. Let's see. Katie has them going. Wow, there's a lot of wins here. Bump. 12-5.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So they definitely win the division then, right?
Nope, they're still behind the Niners. I got one more win for me.
And Sean, do you want it to be a win or not?
Yes, I do want it to be a win.
Then you have 13-4.
That feels like a fucking. That's a division winner, Ryan.
I feel like I need to bump them up a win somewhere. I'm gonna go to 3-1 or 3-1 in that first quadrant that I was hesitant on because I need to get him to 12-5. No way he's getting the MVP at 11-6.
You're right. And Ryan's all over MVP.
So am I.
Katie's all over MVP.
Why do you like the MVP? Because he's fucking awesome.
Well, that he hasn't won yet, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I think he was poised,
narrative.
Yeah, he was poised to win it last year, and it kind of got robbed from him from poor play calling and that offensive line. So I think he's on track to win this year. I think he's hungry for it. I think everybody wants him to have it. So yeah, dude, let's go Russ.
Let's go Russ.
Let's go 1400.
To make the playoffs -130. I don't even feel like that should qualify as me giving out a future. That is just that's just implied money that you should be winning. Obviously, I'm going to throw them on the division at +275. That feels good to me. Even the
all of it.
And I'm going to say a sprinkle on the conference at 10-1.
Just wheel it. Go all the way. Although to make the playoffs at -130 is silly.
Yeah, that's
the narrative of him not getting to the playoffs just doesn't.
Well, and even though we're all like easily over, I do think you should just make the playoffs at -130 versus the over 10 at 100 because 10 and 7 they're definitely getting in. The juice difference isn't that crazy. So
yeah.
I agree.
Kramer,
well, my prop, another rare over. I guess if you do 2 out of 4, it's not rare. Again, this just seems simple. Tyler Lockett to go over 1,000.5 yards. They didn't give me the 999.5 this time. 1,000.5 yards. He went over the last 2 years, and the pace is going to increase. The number of catches he's going to have is going to increase. Unless he gets hurt, this is going to be, again, more candy. Robert Woods, Tyler Lockett, love them in fantasy too.
Money in the bank. Katie, what do you got for your prop here for the Seahawks?
To make the playoffs as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, and Russell Wilson was my prop.
MVP. MVP. Yeah. I'm going to throw it out.
MVP.
I think we talked about it on the division team specials, but Seattle to win their first 5. It's just mispriced. It's not going to happen, but it's 30-1. Let's go. I don't care if it's not going to happen. I want a piece of Seattle winning their first 5 at 30-1. I mean, again, the Broncos were 18-1. Why is Seattle 30-1? They went 5-0 last year
because of their schedule, I think. But
yeah, no, I know. It's just more. I want to be.
But if you say, but let's say it this way: Russell Wilson versus Jake Ellinger, maybe, or Jacob Eason, or Carson Wentz. Russell Wilson versus Tannehill at home. Russ Wilson. Russell Wilson versus Kirk Cousins.
Yes.
Russ Wilson. Russell Wilson versus Jimmy G / Trey Lance. Russ Wilson.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson versus Matty Stafford. There's a matchup.
Russ Wilson. Let's go. All right, Kramer. Let's hear about the beautiful game.
The summer of soccer continues on Paramount Plus. Stream over 2,000 soccer matches a year from around the world. That's all the heart-pounding drama from CBS Sports, including UEFA Champions League, Europa League, Italy's Serie A, Argentina's Primera División, the Brasileiro, NWSL, the Asian Football Confederation, and the CONCACAF qualifiers, featuring the stars from the U.S. and Mexican men's national teams, plus much more. It's the best of the beautiful game with all the beautiful names like Messi, Mbappe, Ronaldo, Rapinoe, and Pulisic. Be part of the excitement as champions are crowned and history is made. The world's game lives here on Paramount Plus. Visit ParamountPlus.com to start your free trial and stream every match live. All right, Sean.
Let's go.
The San Francisco 49ers coming off a 6-9 season where they went under. They're lofty. Wait, this has happened before? 11 win total. Oh, poor Niners. They had one of the worst, and I'm sure Katie will mention this, one of the worst injury situations in the history of football. I think it might have been the worst ever measured by the Football Outsiders. So there is definite signs for regression in the positive sense. No one's complained about me saying positive regression yet, Sean.
No, when you said regression at first, I was like, excuse me?
Well, you regress towards the mean in the positive way, Katie.
Okay.
10.5 is the win total, -105 on the over, -115 on the under. Divisions +180. Conference is 6.5 to 1. Jimmy G's the quarterback, right? 14 to 1 to win the Super Bowl, -200 to make the playoffs, +150 to miss the playoffs. I mean, I guess we should. At this point, I'll hand the mic to Katie.
Wow.
Let's hear the bullish case.
Let's start positive.
Well, I will say that the 49ers are the best and most complete team in the division / possibly the National Football League. Look, yeah, exactly. Thank you. It deserved it. It deserved it. But look, I mean, we're healthy. Like you said, we had a terrible season last season, mostly due to injuries. So I don't even like to look at the 2020 stats because I feel like they're not really applicable to this
2
season.
home games in Arizona.
That definitely hurt.
That hurt. And yeah, we didn't have anybody. But I will say most exciting things, Ayuk. I mean, God, his rookie season, 60 receptions into 748 yards and adding 7 total touchdowns. By who? With Nick Mullins. Okay. We got everyone healthy again. When there's Ayuk and Samuel and Garoppolo on the field, I mean, the offense is much more efficient. I expect to see a lot more of that, averaging about 28 points per game. Running game, Mostert, he's going to have a monster year again. We added Trey Sermon. O-line, I would say, is probably the biggest question mark for me, just because, Trent Williams, big contract, injured. He's day-to-day by now. I think he's going to play, but what it did is it kind of exposed our lack of depth there in the O-line.
Yes.
So that's probably the scariest thing for me as a fan looking at this. Our defense, I think, is going to be still lights out. Yes, we have a new defensive coordinator. We promoted from within. It's still going to be Saleh's scheme. I really don't see too much of a change there. And look, you got Nick Bosa, Kinlaw, D Ford, Eric Armstead. Like, I'm sorry to anyone who has to come up against them. And look, even last year, we ranked 5th in the NFL in our defense, even without some of our top guys. So, yeah, I think we're going to have a good year.
And they had the third toughest
Solid
schedule
case.
last year, 25th.
And I will say we do
year,
have we have an easy schedule
Very
this
easy.
year. But I don't think anyone in the NFC really has that easy of a schedule because we got to play each other twice. But I will say outside of the divisional games, it's much easier, which I think we fare better for, with the Rams and the Seahawks.
Sean, I'm sure you'll mention 3 and 5 and 1-score games. Also, another regression candidate.
No, that's definitely they end. Kind of the strength of schedule as far as win totals. They have according to that, it's the easiest and a +8 net rest edge.
We deserve it.
So that should help them as well. Ryan, I'm gonna name 2 coaches. Okay, 4-year sample size. One head coach, 29 and 35, made it to the Super Bowl but did not win. One head coach in that similar 4-game sample size, 38 and 26, but won a Super Bowl. Which of those 2 head coaches has a job, and which one is heralded as one of the best coaches in the league?
This is Doug Peterson fodder.
Yes, Doug Peterson, Kyle Shanahan. Again, the idea, Kyle Shanahan to me, great coordinator. The guy's just not won. He won 6 games or less in the last 3 years. I think there's something to it. His win-loss is very starkly contrasting with or without Jimmy G. So I think the fact that they have Jimmy G is obviously huge for them. But I still don't understand the Trey Lance decision overall as a franchise. And I can't think. Ryan, can I give you a nugget? As long as we've been doing the podcast, do you remember a team that had a win total set at 10.5 that also had a quarterback battle going on in camp?
No, I mean, it was a bit of the thesis of the Football Outsiders chapter. Basically, most teams don't rebuild while trying to win the Super Bowl. And so it's very rare. It's happened a couple, like even a team making the Super Bowl and 2 seasons removed, drafting in the top 10 is super rare. Hasn't happened a ton. So
I think if I was the 49ers, I would have, and this sounds crazy, I would have just stuck with going all in on Jimmy G, draft Kyle Pitts, run the hell out of 12 personnel, and just be like, we're gonna have George Kittle and Kyle Pitts, one overrated in fantasy, but still awesome tight end.
But what I think it is though is that it's not that we don't think Jimmy G is a good quarterback. It's that he's injury prone, and Nick Mullins and Beathard, we couldn't do it. And I do think that there are some issues with Jimmy. I still think he's our guy for the next 1 to 3 years. I keep saying that over and over again, but we do need that franchise quarterback. And I think that Kyle just wants someone that he can totally groom his own. And Trey Lance is the perfect person. But I think it's more Jimmy getting injured. And that's why we needed a good quarterback more than there's a quarterback battle going on this year.
Which is a great idea. Just tough to do that in the modern NFL because eventually you start getting asked interesting questions. A fun fact about Trey Lance, Sean.
Yes,
I went and dug up some data. He faced 2 players who are now either in the NFL or were drafted into the NFL. One of them was this year, so hasn't played any yet. He only completed 56% of passes in those games, 7.1 yards per throw against our Salukis of Southern Illinois, Sean. And against Emerson Smith, who was drafted by the Giants in Northern Iowa, 2 of the better programs at the FCS level. Now, circling back, real quick, that nugget on the only one team with a top 10. This is a different nugget. This is another Trey Lance thing. One team with a top 10 rookie quarterback has won a playoff game. One team with a top 10 rookie quarterback, top 10 drafted rookie quarterback has won a playoff game. Who was it?
Oh, that is a tough one. Who drafted a quarterback high that also won? The Bills.
2009, Mark Sanchez.
Oh, wow. That is a deep pull.
To show you how hard it is to win a game with a rookie at quarterback. Now, let me come back to the coach situation, because I've heard a lot of people talk about, and I was wrong, second most adjusted games lost to injury last year, according to the Football Outsiders.
Yeah, so they got injured a ton.
But every year that Lynch and Shanahan have been running the team, they've been bottom 11 in adjusted games lost. All right. It seems like, okay,
it's Chargers.
Maybe it's not random. Maybe it's not random. Well, in 2019, they fired their strength and conditioning coach and trainer, and guess what? Things have gotten worse since then. Now, you want to specifically talk about the quarterback. How can we find any sort of data to support why Jimmy G keeps getting hurt. Why have they only gone over 500 once in 5 years? Because the quarterback can't stay healthy. Well, guess whose teams have led the league in knockdowns over the past 4 years? Kyle Shanahan. Even if you extend it back to Atlanta with Matt Ryan, his quarterbacks take a licking.
Yep.
Well, I think it's part of the scheme he runs. It's very friendly for the offensive line because they run this zone blocking thing, which is easy for run blocking, but it must do something to create opportunities against the.
I say all of that.
I
say all of that to say, and the last thing I'll say about Trey Lance, only Darnold and Tommy Maddox started games when they were younger than Trey Lance would be right now. So I say all of that to say that feels like enough, like caution in the wind, not to just be completely bullish. Now, I love the regression angle here. I love the schedule angle. I like the fact that Kyle Shanahan is smart about how he calls his offense and all of that. Where I have trouble, and people will point this out to you too. Well, they're going to be favored in at least 13 games. How is the win total only 10.5? They're going to be favored in 13 games. Kyle Shanahan, 7-18-1 against the spread as a favorite since taking over the job. I wonder if this is a team that can actually do it with the bullseye on its back. I wonder if Kyle Shanahan isn't Kyle, aka Cliff Kitchens Shanahan.
I will say against the spread though, is sometimes they're favored by a lot. They end up winning the game, but they don't cover the spread. Like in our 13-3 season, I remember there was one game, I think it was Halloween, they were favored by like 11 points or something crazy, and they won by 3. So doesn't mean we're not going to win.
31st,
it's a good angle.
31st in situation neutral pace, and that's the area that I would say leads to wins and losses. Because what happens when you slow the game down, Sean? Less possessions. Then what happens? A little bit more win-loss variance, right?
Yeah.
Each possession is going to matter a little bit more. So while I like his ability to scheme up an offense, I like Jimmy G, the way he's looked when he has played for the team. I also am concerned that he's infatuated with Trey Lance, and I'm
Oh, you think he's obsessed with him?
I think Trey Lance is going to see the field, and it could be bad. And I think we've seen this before where rookies, we're so excitable now with like how our rookies have been playing. Kyler looks so great, and Lamar.
It's hard when you draft a guy number 3 overall not to put him in.
I just worry.
The guy hasn't played in a very long time though. Too.
No,
guys.
That's my point. That's why it's scary. Like there's so many reasons why this kid. I'm sure he looks great in preseason when there's no real
it's easy
complexity.
To say, it's easy to say we're going to just let him redshirt him this year and not play him. But it's tough for that actually. And maybe they are, certainly there's the possibility that they're like the Chiefs where they sat Mahomes. Yeah. And maybe Mahomes, wasn't he a top 10 pick or was that
11?
Oh, but they didn't win. Oh, okay. So that was
they didn't trade up for him and all the things. That
and so you gave up so much, and it just sets a ton of pressure for Jimmy G, because anytime they lose 2 games in a row, there's going to be a lot of people going, just fucking put him in. It's just tough when you draft a guy that high not to play him.
I will say
in the NFL.
I've heard a lot of Niners fans with similar words as Katie, which is like they're like the Niners fan base doesn't seem as out on Jimmy G as the rest of us.
No,
I think
we're not.
They love Jimmy G, and I like
because you look at their win loss.
I get it. I look in his eyes and I get lost in his eyes, and he's my starting quarterback.
You guys know how it is too. When it's your team, you don't buy into the media hype as much as other people do because you're more into it.
I've rooted for Eli Manning for almost 2 decades.
Okay,
he's making a case for Daniel Jones. You don't need to explain how you're blind to your quarterback.
Not even blind.
And I apologize for comparing Jimmy G to Daniel Jones. That's not fair. That was uncalled for.
Yeah, Daniel Jones is not as good looking as Jimmy G. I'll admit that.
I also think that we signed. We'll have this team for a few more years. We signed a lot of our big guys, so I think there's definitely pressure this year. But if we don't get to a Super Bowl this year, I don't think heads are necessarily going to roll.
I think we have a long leash.
Yeah, exactly. I think we have a long leash, and Jed York, obviously one of the most hated owners in all of football, he's staying out of it at this point, which we appreciate.
The hot take for this team is that the rift I was talking about around draft time, that Lynch and Shanahan didn't agree on Trey Lance, and Trey Lance plays, and it something happens.
Well, and one last thing, I do think the organization, they've done a good job setting them up with talent, but I do think, and maybe this is John Lynch, has gotten a little cute at times. I think trading DeForest Buckner for a 1st round pick and then drafting Kinlaw, it's like, dude, just pay DeForest Buckner.
Agreed.
Like stuff like that. Agreed. I think has gotten a little too cute, a little too smart for the room.
Yep.
If Gettleman did it, he would get blasted.
He would get killed.
That was a heartbreak when I was like, what are you doing?
Well, and sometimes when you have a strength, just load up on that strength. Don't try and get like, oh, we can use this to get this value. And it's like, no, just you have a known commodity. Just don't let that guy leave the building.
And I would feel remiss if we didn't bring it up because we brought it up with Staley. I do think when you have a defensive mind that you hear the way people speak of Robert Saleh.
Oh, yeah, I love him.
So it's hard for me to think that DeMeco Ryans coming into his first job, all timer. I loved him with the Texans. He was a part of that.
Former Eagle.
Well, mostly with the Texans, but he played a lot of years for those Texans teams I adopted, Sean, back in the day. Love the guy. I do worry that he's got a lot to fill, big shoes to fill with Robert Saleh coming in there. So,
but he's promoted from within, and he has said that he's not straying away from the Saleh scheme. So,
no, I agree. I just think we see it all the time. There are coaches that can think on their feet in a game a little bit more than others.
I mean, that's really what separates a good coach from a bad is the halftime adjustments, getting it right. All right, schedule time.
The
Let's
inverse
go.
of Cliff Kitchens. All right. First up at Detroit, at Philly, Green Bay at home on Sunday night, Seattle at home.
4-0.
This is where Sean points out that Philly's a tough place to play.
It is. I think they're
an unproven team at this point.
I like that. 4-0.
4-0. I'm gonna go. Katie, we need to have a side bet for the Niners Eagles game. Loser shaves their head.
What happens when they lose? What?
No.
What happens?
That's a fair bet.
What happens?
Your head is already shaved for the most part.
How dare you? Sean has a full head of hair. Don't ever mention that again.
Do not pull back the curtain for the audience.
All right.
I'm a man with
obviously
incredible hair.
Lose to Detroit. I
Detroit's. I mean, the spread is interesting for that game, and I do think it's easy to. I mean, a similar example would be the Colts losing at Jags week 1. But I'm not going to take lines on the money.
If there is a defense that Goff hasn't figured out, it's the Niners defense.
You're right.
There's no way that they lose.
They're not going to lose that game straight out. Although the spread, if it's still at like 8 or 9, probably a hair high.
The look ahead spot in Philly with Green Bay on deck is concerning. I'll say they go 3-1.
I mean, even the home games are tough. I'm going to say 2-2.
Aaron Rodgers cannot win at Levi's.
That is
it's because his parents might be at the game and he gets uncomfortable.
Doesn't
I'm not speaking to his parents.
It's the weirdest thing I've ever heard of.
He's an oddball.
Yeah.
No. I know, it's great. At Arizona, early bye week. I don't know if this is a good thing for a team that can't stay healthy. At Arizona, bye week. Indy at home on Sunday Night Football. Chicago, and then Arizona again. Ooh, I'll say they split the Arizona. Let's go 2-2.
2-2. I think I'm higher on the Bears than Kramer's.
This is a hard one.
And DeForest Buckner revenge game. Although they should beat the Colts.
I have 3-1 or 3-1.
I'll say 2-2.
I'm gonna say 3-1 again. Actually, I'm finding myself getting the season hasn't fallen apart yet. 2-2, Sean.
Yes.
All right. Next 4. Rams at home on Monday Night Football at Jacksonville, Minnesota at home at Seattle. Boy, at Jacksonville could totally be a game that they drop.
No, I mean,
I have them 3-1. They're going to lose in Seattle.
As far as tough game, you got to go on the East Coast non-conference road game. Always a red flag.
2-2.
They have 2 home games in the Jags.
The schedule is
the Rams. Can't,
you got to go 2-2.
Yeah, McVay can't beat.
I really want to.
So
I'm gonna really have to rig this at the end here.
Yeah, you're working. You're working to find a narrative again. All right, let's. Where are we now?
Bengals, I think, right?
Cincinnati. Yep.
Oh shit.
At
this
Cincy,
schedule is easy.
Atlanta at home. At Tennessee on Thursday night on a short week. That's going to be a tricky spot. Houston.
4-0.
Oh man.
I mean, are the Bengals beating us or the Falcons beating us? Although they did upset us in 2019, it'll be exciting to see Kittle versus Pitts.
Well, see, what you're not handicapping here is the fact that Trey Lance has come into the game.
He's not.
And I do think that they're going to have.
Do you let yourself enjoy the Trey Lance hype? Or are you worried that's you cheating on your fandom with Jimmy?
No. Because I'm a Niners fan before anything else. If I just don't like, I feel defensive over the Jimmy Garoppolo hate because I think it's unwarranted.
I get it.
If Trey Lance comes in. I hope he wins. I hope he does well. I just don't like this narrative that Jimmy G is a shitty quarterback. He's an injury-prone quarterback, but I don't think,
No, I mean, I think just come back to that win-loss record with Shanahan and Jimmy G.
Yeah.
When the Eagles drafted Carson Wentz, Sam Bradford, I wanted to get hit by a bus. So there was no like me rooting for Sam Bradford or defending Sam Bradford. So I was just curious as to like where you draw the line, because you drafted a quarterback 3rd overall. You want to be all in on him, but then you don't want to.
I like thinking, like you said, it doesn't really work, I guess, with modern football, but I like the old school way of like letting these kids just be behind and get up because they're small.
I'll tell you what, Sean.
And no one has that attention.
Not to crowbar in some youth soccer mentions, but you know,
this is what the fans love.
The seasons build on each other, brick by brick.
I'm going 2-2. And I'll get it out of the way. They lose at Los Angeles to close the season.
Yeah, we all had them.
I have them. Yep.
Yep, we all have that. I have them going 10-7. Sean, you have them going 8-9.
Damn it! I wanted it lower, but the schedule's so easy.
Katie has them going. Let's see, carry the 5. Boop, 14.
Yep.
14-3.
Yep.
Onions.
Yep. You heard it here first, folks. You heard it here first.
So Kramer and I have the under. Katie, you have the over.
Yes.
I feel again, obviously I'm the farthest off from the total. I feel really good about the under. Kramer, you're up against it at 10.5. Are you on the under as a play here? Because I'll throw out for an easy future for me.
If they stay healthy, this over is easy.
Yep.
Wow. So you're leaning over on it.
I don't think they're going to stay healthy.
Oh, okay.
What do you think?
Hedging your bets there.
Oh no, that's why I wanted. I probably, if this was a true projection, I'm probably projecting them to win about 11 games, but I wouldn't take the over because I think there's a lot of versions of this team that struggle. And honestly, like I'll throw out my prop real quick because it's one of the things I think. Mostert. You mentioned Mostert. I love Trey Sermon. I think Trey Sermon.
Ryan's all in on Trey
very
Sermon.
Quickly. Is Shanahan's guy, and what I have is Mostert to go under 700. And a half rushing yards. Wow. Something he's only done once in his career and barely. I think he's going to have to get it. I think he could be used in the passing game. I think he could be used periodically, but he's another guy fails to stay healthy. So
he gets banged up.
That's gonna be my prop. And like I said, I just think that if Trey Lance sees the field, I think this goes from a very hard over to miss. To a very hard over to get. I think all of these people that are saying that he's just going to hit the ground running. Again, what did Sam Darnold look like when he came in at that age?
But I think also for running quarterbacks, and we saw it with Jalen Hurts when he came in, there is a early window where they run a bunch. They probably run more than they should. They do a bunch of read options that the defense hasn't figured out. So there's likely a couple game window where they win some games maybe they wouldn't have won, or that he won't win in the future, even if he's struggling with the passing and the progressions because he's young. So I think that might actually help them kind of edge out some of these wins. For my prop bet, I'm going miss playoffs at +150 and.
Well, honestly. So the note I wrote was, if you like the Niners, you take them to win the division at +180.
100%.
And if you don't like the Niners, you take them to miss the playoffs at +150.
Well,
yeah,
fair.
you get plus odds.
Fair.
And my long shot prop, exact division order.
Oh.
Seahawks first, Rams second, Cardinals third.
Are you out of your mind?
And then
you are out of your mind. We need a doctor. We need a doctor.
I apologize.
49ers lose in a tiebreaker. They still have a great 8-9 season.
Okay, what are the odds on this?
I apologize.
What kind of crazy plus money is this?
It's 22-1.
Yeah.
So
okay. Well, I have them.
Now throw out some. Let's get the positive. How far are you going with this Niners team in 2021?
Well, I have them to win the division at +180. They've won the division more than anyone else. They won it 20 times. I definitely think that they're poised to do that this year. And my long shot bet actually is the prop bet. And it goes slightly against my video. Sean and I do videos for Wave TV for the Giants. Is that I actually like Nick Bosa at +1,000 for the NFL defensive, or not rookie, for the comeback player of the year.
Ooh.
I just think he's a beast. Obviously, he was the rookie of the year his first season. I think he could have been defensive player of the year last year. He ended up getting Injured. It's obviously it's a long shot, but if you don't have a long shot on your own team, like, come on, of course.
You know, I saw that price, and I'm a fan of the Barkley narrative, New York media, all that stuff. Yeah, I assume that's where you were going with that. But certainly, if there's a guy that has the ability to pop back to where he was and you know, flirt with like high double-digit sack total.
Yeah, if he gets like, and he had 9 his rookie year, none last year because he got hurt so early. Yeah. But if he can get, and I think he even had a defensive touchdown, or maybe not, I don't know. Yeah. But he's a guy. If he gets you 12 sacks and that defense carries them again to that 8-9 record. No, especially if they win the division like you're saying, and they're on fire, and the defense is carrying them. I think that's a good narrative.
Yeah, because there's Dak Prescott at 175. I don't trust the Cowboys with anything, and honestly, Joe Burrow might get murdered again. So
you should never bet something like comeback player of the year at like anything lower than like 5-1. Like, don't even consider it, because so much wonky shit can happen. You're plus 175. Like that's makes no sense.
And I think the last thing I would say about this division is I definitely get the sense that every one of these teams is top heavy now, which makes it like in some regard, like there's going to be some there's going to be game to game variance. And I would almost just take the dog in every one of these matchups. I think everyone, I'll say this, Sean, last thing I'll say, every one of these teams can finish in first and last place with a couple injuries.
Yeah.
Not non-quarterback. Like I'm not trying to make like a stupid, like CBS NFL on CBS take right now, but all of these teams are like a couple key defenders away from being absolutely atrocious on defense. Maybe not the Rams.
Best division in the league,
but
best division in the league.
But the Niners were still ranked fifth defense in the league,
Salah.
and we were.
I'm really downgrading the Salah move. Him and Staley, I think, matter. I don't know. What was your question, Sean?
Best division in the league.
I have 3 unders, which is I think.
But the win total, I think it might be the highest.
I surprised myself because I thought it would be over on the Rams. I did. Once I got into the work,
great. I surprised myself.
And I thought the Niners. I thought I would be lower on the Niners, but the schedule makes it very hard to figure that out. But
I think we split. I mean, obviously, I was losing 3 games. We split some division games, but the other ones, it would just have to be a crazy trap game.
If we do get Trey Lance week 1. We are running to the window to take the Lions money line. I don't care what.
Okay.
Oh, that would be disaster.
Not happening.
They're not going to start Trey Lance?
No.
Okay.
No.
Let's see.
Lock it in. What's the Jimmy G start price now?
I'll pull it up right now as we're talking.
It's probably, I think we were talking about maybe taking Trey Lance when it was like
330.
Wait, he's 330?
No, I'm saying we were talking about it when it was plus 330.
And what is it now?
I'm looking.
People saw the 80-yard touchdown in preseason, getting them excited.
So many props.
The one touchdown and then all the interceptions and the sacks.
He did look like he was struggling otherwise.
Well, but I mean, like even Fields, I know you were super hot on Fields. He looked pretty terrible those first couple series. And then I worry about Fields. I know this is not the right division we're talking about. Him running that much, though, they got to rein him back in.
Well, that's like those young guys. They don't really get that the NFL is like, oh, yeah, you're going to get your ass kicked.
When he said, "Oh, it was a little bit slow for me," I was like, "You are now a target for Aaron Donald. R.I.P. to you."
Yeah, don't
even though it's going to be Dalton. Yeah,
it's funny too because that's another one where it's like if someone else said that, they would be killing him.
Yep.
But for some reason,
everyone just
Chicago's so thirsty they'll drink anything at this point.
Well, everyone, and I think the media kind of had a hard on for Justin Fields. They felt bad that he was dropping for whatever reason. They thought he was a gamer, and they're not drafting him. And then
Trey Lance is down to plus 250.
Okay, so
is minus 350. It sounds like at some point we should entertain. Grabbing the no.
I think I'll trust Katie on this and maybe grab a little.
Grab the no.
Grab Jimmy G will be the starter because I think you're right. Like they're that is the breaking case of emergency. If they take that out, then they're
Mac Jones also plus 250.
Now Mac Jones. That is guy's going to be
let's not compare
started.
Jimmy G to Cam Newton. Let's just go ahead and not do that.
That is. Jimmy G.
Sorry, Mac Jones. The yes is same. Yes,
Cam Newton. We can compare to Daniel Jones. That feels about right.
So here you go.
Well, Cam, there was that. Actually, that's not fair to Cam because there was a time when Cam was actually really good.
Oh yeah,
and had an MVP season.
Oh yeah.
Unrelated, you can still get Jameis Winston plus 140.
Oh
wow, that he won't be the star.
Coach's son is still on the team.
Taysom Hill locking it down. All right, do we? Let's do a lock for our. Which one of these we want to actually lock up the win total bets? Of Of course, brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Go to underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN. Get involved. You sign up there, you get $25 free. You can use that in Best Ball Mania 2 for a chance to win $1 million. Kramer, I'll let you go. What are you locking up here?
If I bet $1 million on the Seahawks to go over 10, and they only get 10, I push. Other than that, I win. Russ, when's the last time he had 9 wins, Sean?
Never. He's Russell Wilson.
I would lock up, like you said, probably make the playoffs at -130, but I'll take the over as a win total lock. And I guess to get keep it balanced, I'm going to take an under. Really out on the Cardinals. I feel like I was fairly bullish, and I only got them to 6 wins. Those are my 2 win total locks for a future. Yeah, I mean, again, piling on the Seahawks -130 to make the playoffs. I love that. I also, I mean, chalky, but -200 for the Cardinals to miss the playoffs. I don't see that path. And then, I think I'll lay off the Niners to miss the playoffs. I'll let you handle the hate.
All right. Yeah. I'll lock up, Seahawks over. That is, I mean, money. I'm even going to win the division at 275 in the lock category. And then,
I like that too. Sorry.
And I won't say miss the playoffs because that's at +150, and maybe I'm off on the Niners and they get to 10-7 and make the playoffs. So I'll just take the under 10.5. And the under is just, again, these 10.5 point win totals are crazy. And I guess I'm locking up the over at 10, but I'll make an exception for my boy.
Got push
Dangerous.
Insurance there.
What are you at? What are your favorite bets that we've given out, Katie?
I definitely think the under for the Cardinals on their win total.
Double lock salute there.
Yeah, I think definitely the Seahawks to the playoffs.
Ooh.
I can't see them not making the playoffs. And of course the Niners to win the division.
All right, lock those up.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
Toss us a rating and review on the Apple Podcast app or the SGPN app in the App Store. And if you haven't downloaded the app yet, what are you doing? We're trying to give away $100,000 NFL Week 1, picking all the games against the spread and a couple totals. Hit them all. You win $100,000. We're really
wait. How much does that cost, Tanner?
Free.
Wow,
Ryan.
Jesus Christ.
Everything we do is free.
It's coming out of my pocket, isn't it? Shit.
Big thanks to Katie for coming in. Give her a follow on Instagram, Katie Mox Bets.
Yep.
Twitter at Katie Mox. Anything else you want to throw out, Katie?
No, that's it. Thank you for having me. I'm
appreciate
always excited to be here and fight you on George Kittle.
Yeah, exactly.
All of the
Battling it
Niners.
out.
I didn't realize that the hate went farther than George, so
it was all
back a
he
little
hates
bit.
Shanahan. It's all there.
Well, again, we play week 2. We gotta think on that and come up with a fun side.
Yeah,
bet.
the shaved head is a little extreme for me.
Oh, come on.
I've got this nice
Shaved
long
head.
hair here.
No, I know that would be it.
Yeah.
It is
which,
pretty,
by the way, I'm very confident, but I wouldn't bet my head of hair for anything.
Yeah, it's the NFL. That's what's fun about it.
Be happy to put up my head of hair for you,
Anything
Katie.
can happen. Yeah, Brian and I will both shave our heads.
Great.
All right, that'll do it for the podcast. For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, second the money green, and he is Ryan.
Great job, Sean. Great job.
Kramer. Let it ride.